Hello, welcome back to Versace Fragrances. My name's George. Today we're doing a buying guide for Versace Eros. We've got all four of the fragrances here, and after this video you'll be able to decide which one is right for you. Enjoy the video. Starting things off with the original Eros EDT, or this is known as the king of clubbing, but as someone who is not into clubbing, I don't really see it that way. I think Eros EDT, this is the original, the first one, is a great starter fragrance for anyone who's just getting into fragrances. You want something that is going to be mass pleasing, really, that's going to smell nice, sexy, everyone's going to enjoy it. You might get a lot of compliments with this one, so I think it's a really good starting fragrance for anyone who is looking to start their fragrance journey. The main notes in this one are going to be mint, apple and vanilla. Now the mint is there in the initial spray. I'm going to spray this on a tester strip because you get the mint straight away. As soon as you spray Versace Eros on a tester strip, you get the beautiful fresh mint, and that is mixed with apple, and then you've got tonka bean and vanilla in the dry down. So it's a really good kind of mix between fresh and sweet notes, and that's what makes Eros so special. So once the mint and the kind of apple fade away, I mean the apple doesn't really fade away in the fragrance, to be honest, it's mainly the mint that just sort of takes a back seat. You are mainly left with a sweet kind of warming fragrance, and that is mixed with apple. So you've got apple and vanilla, they're going to be the main notes. I would put this in the same ballpark as something like Yves Saint Laurent Y EDP. I'm not saying that they smell alike, but they do kind of a similar job. Y EDP has also a really good balance between kind of fresh and sweet notes. It's a really kind of easy to wear fragrance. It's a fragrance you can wear to almost any occasion. It's a mass pleasing fragrance for sure, and so is Eros, and that also mixes the sweet and fresh notes together. One thing I should mention about Eros EDT is I believe it is quite youthful. It's a youthful smelling fragrance, and that is because it's kind of got this really kind of fresh notes in the opening with a mint that's going to project a lot, and it's got a synthetic sweetness in the base. So it's not going to be a kind of a classic masculine fragrance or a sophisticated fragrance, so to speak. So it's not going to be a fragrance for somebody who wants to smell really classy and refined. It's not like that at all. It's a really youthful, it's a playful fragrance, it's a fun fragrance, so it's definitely worth bearing that in mind when you're thinking of which Eros to buy. I'd recommend wearing Eros EDT pretty much anywhere. I wouldn't particularly wear it on a date night, it just wouldn't be my fragrance choice, and maybe we'll see later on in this video which one I'll choose for a date night. But I'd wear this casually, going to the gym, going out with friends. You can wear it to the office, couple of sprays, you're going to smell really nice, and it's a nice mass pleasing fragrance. You're not going to offend anyone as long as you don't go too heavy with the trigger, but it's easy to wear fragrance and you can wear it pretty much anywhere. Moving on then to Versace Eros Flame. To be honest, I find this to be quite far away from the original that we just spoke about. I know some people find some really big similarities in this, but I don't particularly see that at all. They're very different fragrances, in my opinion. This opens up with mandarin orange, lemon, and you've got rosemary and vanilla in the kind of mid notes and the base notes. So the mandarin orange and the lemon are different to the apple that is in the original, and you've got rosemary in here, which is really nice. It adds like a nice kind of aromatic style to this, but you haven't got mint and you haven't got apple. They're the two of the main components in the original Eros, and I think that is why I don't get so many similarities with the Eros Flame. The performance of Eros Flame is actually pretty good. It's an eau de parfum concentration, whereas the original Versace is an EDT. So it's an eau de parfum concentration. It does stay on the skin for a few hours. I find, to be honest, that I don't reach for this all that much. I prefer the original Eros. I like that DNA, I love the freshness, the apple, I really enjoy those notes. So whilst this is not particularly a bad fragrance as such, I just don't particularly reach for it all that much. In terms of when you could wear this, I would recommend wearing this pretty much the same as the original Eros. It's quite easy to wear, it's not going to be too divisive, you're not going to turn a whole lot of heads wearing this and people aren't going to be offended. So you can wear this pretty much anywhere. But from a personal standpoint, I just prefer the original Eros. Eros Flame has a real kind of spicy nuance to it as well. I think that's because there's some black pepper in here. There's a black pepper note which gives it a kind of spiciness. So if you could compare these two then, this is spicy and sweet, whereas the original Eros is fresh and sweet. So there are the differences there. They're the obvious differences and why I don't see them as being all that similar. Moving on to the Versace Eros EDP. This is very, very similar to the original EDT, but this has a beautiful candied apple in the opening, which adds a whole new dimension of sweetness over the original. It has mint as well, but the mint is toned back slightly, and that candied apple is really at the forefront, so you get a lot more sweetness in this. But overall, the DNA is very similar to the original Eros. You can definitely tell that it's an Eros fragrance, not like Versace Flame, where it's Versace Eros Flame, where it's almost completely different in the opening. This is very similar, just the notes have been changed slightly and the sweetness has been amped up. I would say that the performance on Eros EDP exceeds the performance of the EDT, which is what you would expect, to be honest. It projects more and it lasts longer on my skin. If you are interested in compliments at all with fragrances, if that's why you wear them, this will certainly be a fragrance that gets compliments. It's sexy, it's inviting, and to be honest, it just smells really, really good. It's a really nice smelling fragrance that will get attention and it will draw people into you because it just smells lovely. To sum it up really quickly, it's basically the original Eros, but slightly sweeter and slightly less fresh. In terms of when I would wear this predominantly for going out with your friends. It's a real fun fragrance. It's one to wear when you're going out, when you want to be noticed, when you want a fragrance that is going to cut through maybe if you're outside with a lot of people and you want a fragrance that's going to cut through the air and people are going to smell it. That's when I'd wear this. Really wonderful fragrance, and to be honest, the best out of the three that we spoke about so far. Moving on to the last one in this list and the newest Eros. This is Versace Eros Parfum. I'll be honest with you, I've only just got this. I got this only a couple of days ago, so I've not had a huge amount of experience with this, especially wearing it out and about and getting reactions from people. It's mainly been a fragrance I've just worn for myself, but to be honest, I really, really like this. I was surprised how much I liked this. I thought it was going to be a lesser version of the EDP. If you think of something like, you know, Dior Sauvage Parfum versus the EDP, I'm not interested in the Parfum version of that. It doesn't do anything for me. And I thought that was going to be the same thing for this. But this is actually really, really nice. It rounds off the edges of those two that we spoke about, the EDT, the EDP. It's sweeter, it's denser, and you've got a lovely amber note in the base, which is surprising. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be just a kind of more rounded version of the EDP. I didn't expect the extra note. You've still got mint, you've still got the apple there, but they are toned down, and you've got a really nice amber base, which is absolutely beautiful. The amber note in here is so inviting, it's warming, and you get this kind of sensation with this that you don't get with the other two. You don't get that kind of sort of sophistication in those other two Eroses, but you get that in this. The amber really provides that. It's very warming, it's very comforting. And to put it simply, this is the EDT and the EDP, but it's sweeter and it's got this lovely kind of resinous amber note, which, like I said, you will not find in there. You've still got the mint, you've still got the green apple, but it's sweeter and more rounded. Out of the limited times I've tried this on my hand, the performance has been really good, but as I said, I haven't tested it out in the open when there's people around and I'm doing sort of daily activities, so I'm not going to comment on the performance apart from it has worked well in the indoor settings that I've tried it. But for me, this is a Versace Eros I'm going to wear on a date night and in the winter, which I think is a really good addition. The only downside is it is really expensive. Well, not really expensive, it's more expensive than the other ones. It's just come out, I think I paid about £90 for 100ml, so it is more expensive than those other ones. But when it hits discounters, once it's been out a few months, I'm sure you'll be able to find it for a cheaper price. I find the Eros Parfum to be the sexiest out of the whole line of Eroses that we spoke about. If you imagine the original Eros EDT to be grown up, going to a black tie event, going to the bar and ordering whiskey on the rocks, that is how I would describe this. It's a grown-up version of Eros. It's one you can wear on a date, it's one you can wear in the winter time, and it's just a more kind of, it's a more grown-up, version of Eros. It's one that the older generation can wear. It's one you can wear on a date, and it's one that is going to be great for winter, and I'm going to wear it a lot this winter. Let's do a quick sum up then. So the original Versace Eros is great as a starting fragrance for somebody who is just getting into fragrances. Really good, mass pleasing, versatile scent to get you started with. Versace Eros Flame is for somebody who wants a Versace Eros without smelling like Versace Eros. Versace Eros EDP is a more rounded, better quality version of the original, slightly more sweet, and will probably last you a lot longer. And Versace Eros Parfum, a winter, a date night, a more resinous, grown-up version of the original Eros. Guys, hope you really enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you gained anything from this video, and let me know in the comments, what is your favourite Eros? Have you tried the new Parfum yet? What did you think? I'll see you in a few days. Take care.